Dear brothers and sisters, Om Shri Sai Ram. This short video is to clarify some of the discussions that have happened on the executive committees, their role and appointments based on the terms of reference published by the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council. We were told that agreement wasn't reached between the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust and the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization based on two topics. One of them was the appointment of office bearers, and the other one was the term supervision and supervision of the SSSIO activities. Now, a good starting point is to look at the executive committee. And as I progress through, you'll understand why I've structured the slides this way. So let's first look at the executive committee. There's two executive committees. One executive committee looks after the affairs of the international organization. The other looks after the affairs of the Indian organization. In executive committee one, which is the international side, there will be three trustees. There's the chair of the Sathya Sai International Organization. There is the Prashanti Council members, the directors of the Sri Sathya Sai World Foundation, all zone chairs. And for those of you who don't know, the zone chairs are representatives of countries that have an established Sai organization. There will be the managing trustee, and it says here they're an invitee, which means they don't have voting powers. And there will be the chair of the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council, who will also be the chair of this executive committee. So if this committee was to be formed today, what would it look like? So if it was done today, as I mentioned, we will have three trustees, but I put two here because one of the trustees, which is Mr. Chakravarti, he's the chair of the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council. So 1 + 2 over here makes up the three trustees. We have the chair of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization who goes here. We've got, according to the Sathya Sai International Organization website, we've got 6 Prashanti Council members, and they're listed here. So if I take the chair of the Sathya Sai International Organization out and put them over here, there's 5 that can then occupy this position over here. We've got 6 directors of the Sri Sathya Sai World Foundation over here. Based on this listing here, 3 are already accounted for earlier. So that gives us 3 who will go here. According to the Sathya Sai International Organization website, we've got 13 zone chairs, so they go in here. We've got the managing trustee, who is by invite only and has no voting powers, and then we've got the chair of the Global Council. So if we were to put this together and look at this as a representation, we've got 22 international members, and we've got 4 representatives of the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust. And remember the comment on the voting powers. In total, we've got 26 members who form the executive committee. Now, what does this group do? In a nutshell, they are the ones who are steering and strategizing the mission, and they are aligning themselves with the 3 divine mission statements, which are stated at the start of the terms of reference. But more operationally, they are acting as an advising, coordinating, and supervising body. And the word supervising is where the contention was. And the remark was made that the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust should not be supervising the activities of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization. So if you look at this, go back here on this sheet here, the Central Trust is represented by 3 + 1 members. But the vast majority of the Executive Committee 1 is international. So what it is, it's a collection of representatives from around the world, senior leaders around the world, who are now overseeing the activities of each of the countries. So from where I sit, I really don't see this word supervision as an issue, because it's a group of peers who are overseeing the activities of an organization, very similar to a board of an NGO, board of a large corporation, board of many other spiritual organizations that we are aware of. And the role of trustees is pretty clear, because that's the objective number 2, which is to facilitate the exchange of information between Sai organizations. So the trustees are also part of the Executive Committee 2, which oversees the Indian organization. They're also participants in various other subcommittees. So they're able to bring together best practices and expertise and knowledge from other activities and share it with this group here, so that the Executive Committee 1 is able to progress, but also take some best practices that are happening in Executive Committee 1 and apply it into the other groups. So if I look at this, it's a very rich structure. It's a very consultative structure. It's a very progressive structure, because this allows for representation of different countries, different genders, different ages into the Sai organization. And really, it's future-proofing how decision and the leadership of the Sai organization will work going forwards. It's not a small cluster, it's a very diverse cluster. People from different languages, different cultures are coming together to ensure that this group, the executive committee, is a resilient, is a very strong, is a very wise group that is able to steer the organization forward. So I don't really see an issue in terms of supervising. Absolutely not. If it's a group of peers who are looking after, and they're all experienced, they're all running the organization in their own zones. So they're now helping each other in terms of the activities of the other zones. So that's that. Let's move on to the next part, which is to look at the appointments. Now, the executive committees will be appointing all office bearers in the organization, except the heads of the different organizations. Perfectly fine. But there was a remark that was made that the Global Council will also be appointing center presidents, center regional coordinators, etc. So let's clarify this based on the terms of reference. It says that the all zonal chairs will be appointed under the signature of the chair of the Global Council. So that means the international organization will be recommending the zone chairs, and it gets approved by the chair of the Global Council. But all the country heads, central coordinators, regional coordinators will be appointed under the signature of the chairperson of the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization. So, which is great, which is how I think it happens currently. But it also clarifies the point that was made, that the office bearers at the zonal, at the national levels will be appointed under the signature of the zonal chair. So various office bearers and members of all committees at zonal level, which will include all the countries, will be appointed under the signature of zonal chairs, which means the zone chair is responsible for everything, for everyone who reports into them. So which is good. There's no mention that it will be done by the Global Council, it will be done by the Central Trust. So you can see it's very well structured, where the senior appointments are done by Global Council, then the country and zonal appointments are done by overseen by the international organization. So that's all perfectly fine. The question then becomes, what is the role of the Central Trust? And I highlight you to 2 points here, 3 and 4. The Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust will appoint the chair of the Global Council after consulting the chair of the international organization and the All India president, which is brilliant, because these two organizations, the Indian organization and the international organization, are the components that make up the Global Council. So this consultation is perfect. It does not say that the trust will appoint it on their own. So totally fine with that. But it also says, and this is the important point for us to note, particularly those of us in the international organization, that the Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust will appoint the All India president, as well as the chair of the international organization, based on the recommendation of the respective executive committees of the Sathya Sai Global Council. So if I look at the international organization structure, the executive committee that I presented earlier, they will be the ones recommending who will be the chair of the international organization. And I see that as a very consultative process. I see that as a process that is very robust, free of bias, and something that is widely practiced by many other organizations. So it's not a decision made by 1, 2, or 3 individuals. It is consultative. It takes in views from various different countries. And as I mentioned, it's a very wise group, because there are people from different backgrounds in that group. But it also, I see that it sets up the structure for something much more bigger, which is the people working in the group are working to lead the organization. And ideally, the chairpersons of the various the two organizations will pretty much come from that committee. So which means that people have worked together, they have built a good rapport with each other, and they're now able to recommend someone from within that group to step up and take on the role of the head of the group, and they will have the support of this group going forward. So it's a widely consulted group. I see that it is very progressive, very forward-looking, and something that I really like, that the decisions will be considered. And if I were to give an example, it just means that the zone chair of Zone 3 will have a say in the appointment of the chair of the international organization. But it also means that the chair of Zone 3 has an equal opportunity to one day also be the chair of the international organization if the rest of the executive committee, the 26 members of the executive committee, feel that they are the right person to go for that particular role. So, dear brothers and sisters, I hope this clarifies the issue around appointments. You can see that I really don't see what's to be to be negotiated. And I end this video with a short prayer that, dear Bhagwan, please help us clarify these issues so that we can move together as one organization, one united organization, because that's how the Sai mission can progress. And it's high time we did that. So, Bhagwan, we pray for your blessings, pray for your guidance, and may you continue to bless every leader in the organization, every member of the organization, and may we continue to really understand who we are and fulfill the Sai mission right from our heart and expand it to the entire universe. Jai Sai Ram.